Chad, are we ready to go on Crossroads?
Good to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. This is the Monday, November 3rd, 2025 Planning Board meeting for the town of Fairfield. First on the agenda is to just note that we do have a quorum tonight of 4 out of our 5 regular members. We do have 2 positions available with the planning board as alternate members that are currently unfilled. So if anybody does have interest, please do reach out to the town clerk and submit your application. Next on the agenda is minutes of the September 8th, 2025 planning board meeting for approval. Did everybody get copies of those in your packet?
Yes.
Any questions, concerns, revisions? No. One?
Second that.
Wonderful. All in favor? Excellent. Next on the agenda is the public hearing for Dirigo Engineering representing for Long Acre Estates subdivision application for a proposed 4-lot subdivision off of Norwalk Road identified on tax map 5, lot 82, zoned rural residential land use district.
Good evening. I'm Randy Butler with Dirigo Engineering, representing Long Acre Estates, LLC. So they've got a subdivision that we'd actually given you kind of phase 2. I guess it was last spring, I think, is when we spoke to you about that project. Tonight, what we're presenting is just phase 1, which would be 4 lots. Hopefully, you've got that all in front of you in a package, and I see it's up on the screen there as well. Essentially, it's connecting into Fairfield Center. The property is currently owned by Larissa Larrabee, and her nephew, Bryant Lorette, who is here with us tonight, is planning to purchase that from her once he's got assurance that the subdivision is a go. So that's the plan there. He has a purchase and sale agreement for the property, planning to construct spec houses on the lots. The property is essentially farmland, pasture, and hayfield and so forth is what it consists of right now. We have got a permit from MDOT for the entrance location. Wells and septics will be private. We have got test pits done for the septic system, so we know that they can pass on these 4 lots. And those are both addressed in the application. Stormwater. We're keeping it, DEP has a threshold of 1 acre of impervious. Once you cross that threshold, you have to get a stormwater management permit. So part of the reason we're doing this first phase is to stay below that threshold at this point, just so we can kind of get the ball rolling, get the project started. And then, but what we have done is we've designed into it the elements that we know we will need in order to comply with the stormwater management permit. In other words, there are treatment measures that they'll require once they cross 1 acre. So we've built those into these first 4 lots to accomplish that, because they not only did they apply to the stuff over 1 acre, but they apply to the stuff below that 1 acre threshold as well. So we've got those built into there. So if you've looked at the plans, you may have seen items like meadow buffers. If you look at sheet 2 in particular, you'll see some of those items called out. And maybe Chad, if you wouldn't mind, there you go, dropping onto page 2. So you'll see some of those blue hatched areas in particular. Those are meadow buffers. Some of them are treating road. The ones that are right adjacent to the road right away are treating the roads. And then there's the one kind of on the back side of lots 1 and 2. That will be treating portions of the road as well as portions of the lot. Typical subdivision, if it's a traditional subdivision where a developer just sells the lots outright, you normally don't have to worry about doing this work on the lots. But if the developer is doing the actual construction and it exceeds that 1 acre threshold, then you have to do something for treatment with DEP standards. So that's what we've kind of got incorporated in there, and we'll have appropriate drainage easements and so forth written into that, into the deeds to accommodate those. You'll notice on lot number 3, which is the one on the far right, on the downs, the lower below the road, you'll notice that we've got an under drain soil filter specified there. The reason we did that is just there's not quite enough land there to do the meadow buffer in that particular lot. So that's why that one is there, but everything else will be treated with meadow buffers. So we're hoping, we know that the town's ordinance for stormwater, typically, for many towns, and Fairfield included, typically what you have is your ordinance says that post-development flows cannot exceed pre-development flows, which is a reasonable way to go about it. But most towns are agreeable to that. If you go with DEP standards, most towns will say, okay, as long as you're compliant with DEP, we're not going to enforce that post versus pre-development. So we'd like to get, I guess, clarification and hopefully your approval on that concept. We will have a small stream crossing, and we'll have to have a permit through Army Corps of Engineers for that. There's actually a stream crossing there already. We're just upgrading it, replacing it, and so forth. There's essentially a farm road that crosses a little stream, and it's got I think it's a 30-inch culvert, maybe a 36-inch culvert right now. We'll upsize that a little bit and lengthen it in order to meet the road widths. The roads will remain private, and because of that, we're sticking with 40-foot wide right-of-ways, planning on 18-foot wide gravel road, which is what your ordinance requires. So with that, I'll welcome any questions you may have.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Any members of the public wish to speak during this public hearing? Chad, do we have anybody virtually?
No, you don't.
Hearing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed. Next on the agenda is unfinished business. We have none. Nicole, unless you have anything that's...
No, nothing unfinished.
Okay. Moving on to new business, item A, Greg Carney, representative for Daniel Kissinger, discussion to decrease the size of Lot 1 from the final plan, Sturdivant Heights addition subdivision 2011 and revised in 2019. Lot 1 requests to decrease the lot size of Lot 1 from 1.82 acres down to 1 acre on tax map 2, Lot 6-IS in the residential land use district. We have a representative for this to give us an overview of what
Did
we're looking at.
maps, or do you need?
We did get maps
Okay.
as part of our package.
So I'm Dan Kissinger. I assumed Greg was going to be here, but basically, like you said, just looking to change the lot diagram of it to be able to sell it and start, hopefully get someone to build on it. Quick backstory to it was part of the original subdivision, was sold. There was a pretty large fiasco that I helped resolve by granting the then owner of it existing land around, so we got permission to change from her original 0.79 acres to the 1.82 that it is now. That was to be able to sell 130 acres that I ended up buying. And then now, since then, I bought the lot for my own use and have decided to sell it, but the piece I'm trying to carve out is part of an existing field that I would prefer to maintain as part of my larger lot.
On the original subdivision plan that we have a copy of from 2011, it shows it as 1.82 acres. Was there a plan prior to that?
On 2011, there was one.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one.
I'm not familiar with this extension. This was a Sturdivant Drive extension, it looks like, back in 2000. Sure, sorry about that. 2011, that's the first time that I could find that lot created.
Okay. So it may have been before that there was an issue, before the, because it looks like in 2003, there may have been a plan recorded, an original
The
plan.
prior owner, Gammon, bought it as .79, I think, and then Sturdivant agreed to give her a little over an acre to make her satisfied with the problem they had. He then passed. There was no ability to resolve, and I ended up getting the estate and honored his verbal agreement to her.
Nicole, does this proposed revision meet our lot size and road frontage and all those requirements for this?
Yes, it meets the minimum for the land use district residential, correct.
I would just note in 2019, there was a final plan for Sturnment Heights Addition Hillside Drive Phase 2A that was approved by the Fairfield Planning Board, and that, in the condition of approvals, did say no lot to be further subdivided.
Correct.
So, do we have the authority to override the previous planning board's condition?
That would be a legal matter. I don't know where it's a recorded plan with that condition that no lot be further divided. I would not have an answer for that.
Right, that would be just my concern if we're doing anything. I mean, it makes, I understand.
Absolutely.
I get what you're trying to do. It's just,
Yep.
that was an approved plan by the Fairfield Planning Board in previous generations of us.
That was my purchase in 2019,
Okay,
when I gave her that land.
got it. So maybe it's a discussion with MMA, Nicole, just to ask them their legal opinion on it. And what does the rest of the board think?
I agree with that.
Because I guess in general, I don't see a major issue with this, other than if we're legally allowed to do it. Because I understand you own both parcels.
Yeah,
But,
no, I understand that.
So condition number one, get
Right.
a clarification.
Right,
You can
just-
act on his request. Okay?
I think that would be helpful for us to make a decision.
So will you let me know directly? or-
I will report back to the board
Yep.
as they've asked me to report to them. So I'll put it on the next meeting agenda
Okay.
that we have. Is
Yep.
that what you'd like? Okay.
Yep.
Sounds
And then
good.
you can attend.
All right, thank
Okay,
you all.
thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board on that one? All right, item B under new business, New England Rent-to-Own Representative for Chelsea Land LLC, 306 Ridge Road, request a previously approved subdivision lot split revision of the Bill Chinook subdivision 1990 Lot 1 on tax map 4 Lot 32-B-1 in the residential land use district to be split into two. Discussion. And we did receive details about that in our packet. Looks like we have a representative. Could you just give us an overview of what you're looking to do here?
Yeah, we're just looking to split the 8.5 acre lot into two. It meets all setbacks and minimum lot sizes and supports two septics.
Any comments from the board on this? Well, no, on a plan that we do have, the revised subdivision plan, it does say no further subdividing without planning board approval. So that's, I would presume the applicant is here.
Correct?
Yes.
I do have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Just trying to track ownership of this property. Where does it currently stand? is Chelsea Land LLC separate from New England Rent to
Yes,
Own,
it is.
separate entity?
Yes.
And who's the current owner of the property?
Chelsea Land.
Okay, and is Chelsea Land the applicant, or is New England Rent to Own the applicant for this?
I have a
Subdivision.
purchase and sale with Chelsea Land. so
Okay.
I would be the applicant.
Okay, so after the purchase and sale is completed, then this lot division would take place, not prior to?
Correct.
In the application, it shows anticipated start of construction as October 13th, 2025.
We didn't start anything.
Okay, I was gonna say, I presume that will be shifted?
Yeah.
Do we have new anticipated start of construction?
Tomorrow? No, as soon as possible. So,
And we did get a new stamped plan from the surveyor that was not included in our packet tonight here for the board to review. This one right here, the big, the large format that's on the table, that's the official survey of the proposed lot split. We did get in the packet a preliminary that showed the extension of the 40-foot wide right-of-way, and then where the two homes were proposed to be located on both lots. In the application, there were deed descriptions, and it noted land to be conveyed by Justin Cash and Morgan LaFerrier. Will that now be updated to Chelsea Land LLC to New England Rent to Own?
that's correct. Yep.
Any changes in those documents
None of
since
them.
they were submitted to the town?
No.
Okay. It does look like on the plan in front of us here, it looks like the extension of the right-of-way through the easternmost lot is now 40 feet wide. I'll note that it's 60 feet wide in the proposed deed, so I just want to make sure that that gets adjusted.
Okay.
But 40 feet does meet our ordinance. Nicole, we did get a note from the fire chief on this, I
Yes,
believe.
you did.
And that indicated no substantial concern.
No concern for two single-family dwelling units.
Okay.
That they have adequate capacity to serve.
Okay. And what will be the process for obtaining like a curb cut permit from the town?
They have already applied, and they have a driveway entrance permit at the
Okay.
location shown on the plan from Public Works.
Okay. Any more comments from the board? I will note that the applicant does intend to do private well and private septic
Yes.
on each of the lots. Hearing none?
I believe there's someone from the public that has attended to speak.
Okay. We're happy to take any public comment.
I have a budding property.
Can you go to the microphone, please, and just state your name?
Oops, sorry about that. Les Cabine. I reside at 306 Ridge Road. And I'd just like to know a little bit more about what's planning to happen behind my house. Because that property back there borders on my property, the back side of my property.
Do you have any specific questions that the applicant would be able to potentially answer tonight?
Has the property been tested, the soil's been tested?
And Leskar, please address us as the board, and then we'll be able
sorry.
to ask those questions.
Well, you asked me to,
I know, but it just, with the microphones, it just doesn't work with conversations in the audience. So
just checking to make sure that all of the, soil testing's been done, and I'm concerned about my well versus them drilling wells. My lot is down to that lot, both those lots. It's downhill from it, so I have a concern with that.
Is your
How close it's gonna
concern,
be to my
is your
property.
concern about water quality,
Yeah.
proximity of the
Correct.
proposed private septic systems to your well location?
All water and, right, you drill a well in proximity to an existing well, it could affect the existing well. As well as the sewer. I haven't seen any plans, so.
Right.
Take a look at this one closer if you'd like.
Well, I'd like to have a little bit of time to look at it. Like I said, I told Nicole today, I just received notice in the mail on Saturday that this was even happening. Didn't know anything about it.
I did mail letters to abutters last Friday, but apparently the US mail is taking 5 or 6 days to deliver mail in town. I don't understand that, but I did mail it
Okay.
a week ago.
Any additional questions we can relay to the applicant?
How close are the houses to the property line?
We received in our packet a sketch showing the approximate location of the homes that would be constructed, and I think it was 100 feet away is what was being proposed from the property line, which is certainly more than what our ordinance requires. Nicole, help me out with setback distances in this zone.
In the residential land use district, it's 10 feet from property line,
Okay.
and they're at 100 feet.
Mm-hmm.
The second home is at, I believe, 110?
Okay.
It
So that would,
exceeds.
that's the proposed setbacks. We, as a planning board, could ask or set a condition of approval that does maintain that setback. Otherwise, the applicant would be able to go right to the minimum for the ordinance. So that's something that we'll discuss with the applicant in order to maintain those proposed setbacks if you feel that that would be beneficial.
It would be beneficial to me. Right, 10 feet from my property line's about, I don't know, 75 to 100 feet from my pool. So. You gotta remember, Kennebec Water District owned that land for pretty much the whole time that I've owned the property, since 2001. And then all of a sudden, this happens.
Okay, well, we will certainly ask the applicant those questions if the
Thank you.
applicant wants to step forward again.
Thank you for your time.
Of course, thank you for coming. Could you talk to us about the soil testing that's been conducted on the site in order to ensure that the septic systems would meet state and local?
Yep, we've handed in 2
Requirements?
septic designs already.
They did, they had
Yep.
a site evaluator, and you have the full design in your package. They didn't just do a test pit, they actually did the full designs.
For both lots. Yep.
Right, so they did check, setbacks to wells, and that's all in the,
And this was a certified septic designer, Nicole?
yes, he is licensed in the state of Maine.
Okay. And on the stamped site plan that we do have, we do show the locations of the test pits that were conducted. And those, Nicole, as part of your process with construction on any of these sites, I would presume that you'll be checking to ensure proper offsets
Yes.
from wells, both on the property that's in front of us as well as neighboring properties.
Right, the site evaluator under his license would have checked the well on the abutting property
Okay.
before he designed it.
Yep. And as far as private wells being drilled on neighboring properties, is there any sort of code or requirement that we have for that, Nicole?
No, it falls under the State of Maine Well Drillers Board, and, I'm not familiar with all of their rules, but they are allowed to drill a well. I'm not familiar, other than that they're allowed to drill for potable water.
Okay. And then with the setbacks of the homes, in the packet provided, you did indicate that it was 100 and 110 feet for that second lot. Is that something that you'd be willing for us to put as a condition of approval for?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Helpful. Any other concerns from the board? And this is showing owner of record as Chelsea Land LLC.
Yes. That's who currently owns it.
So Chelsea Land LLC will be doing the lot division?
Correct. Yep. They own it right now, currently.
So once it's split, then the transfer of ownership would happen?
Then there'll be, yes.
Because on the packet, it shows the name of the applicant is New England Rent to Own.
As the representative for Chelsea Land.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
they did submit a letter.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any additional questions? No, I'd entertain a motion.
Do you want to move to findings?
Findings before the motion, sure. So findings of fact, the owner of the property is Chelsea Land LLC. The applicant is Chelsea Land LLC, who has demonstrated a legal interest in the property by deed, recorded in book 6313, page 169, on August 14th, 2025. The location of the property is at 308 Ridge Road, Assessor's Map 4, Lot 32-B-1, and contains 8.5 acres. The property is not located in the shoreland zone. The property is not in the flood hazard area. The applicant proposes to split Lot 1 into 2 lots, with Lot 1 containing 4.257 acres and Lot 2 containing 2.57 acres on the subject property.
That's a typing error. It should be 4.25 on that second lot, too.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
A completed plan and application was submitted on October 22nd, 2025. A public meeting was held tonight, November 3rd, 2025. Water is to be supplied by private wells. Sewage is to be disposed of by private septic systems, which have been designed and submitted to the town. The site evaluation for each lot meeting the requirements of the main plumbing rules was completed by Mark Schwartz, and also the developer of the septic designs. Conclusions: pollution. This proposed subdivision will not result in undue water or air pollution. Sufficient water. The proposed subdivision has sufficient water available for the reasonable foreseeable needs of the subdivision. Water test borings were completed in 1990 as shown on the subdivision plan. Municipal water supply. The proposed subdivision will not cause undue burden on the existing water supply. Note, private wells will be utilized, not the municipal water supply. Erosion. The proposed subdivision will not cause unreasonable soil erosion or a reduction of the land's capacity to hold water so that a dangerous or unhealthy condition results. And a proper erosion control measures will be used during the development of the house lots. Nicole, as our code enforcement officer, will be engaged throughout the construction process to make sure that erosion control is maintained. Traffic. The proposed subdivision will not cause unreasonable highway or public road congestion or unsafe conditions with respect to the use of the highways or public roads, existing or proposed. The parcel will have a shared private road with 2 dwelling units, and the fire chief did note that the private road will get a new name and the addresses will be updated accordingly. Sewer disposal, the proposed subdivision will provide for adequate sewage waste disposal and will not cause an unreasonable burden on municipal services if they're utilized, noting that the site will use private septic systems that are on site, not public sewer. Municipal solid waste disposal, the proposed subdivision will not cause an unreasonable burden on the municipality's ability to dispose of solid waste if municipal services will be utilized. No municipal solid waste services will be utilized. Aesthetic, cultural, and natural values, the proposed subdivision will not have an undue adverse effect on the scenic or natural beauty of the area. Aesthetics, historic sites, significant wildlife habitat identified by the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife or the municipality, or rare and irreplaceable natural areas, or any public rights for physical or visual access to the shoreline, noting that no adverse effects are expected. Conformity with local ordinances and plans, the proposed subdivision conforms with a duly adopted subdivision regulation or ordinance, comprehensive plan, development plan, or land use plan, if any, for the community. In making this determination, the planning board has interpreted these ordinances and plans, noting yes, the land use residential district, or this proposal meets the land use of residential district, 10-foot minimum side setbacks to structures and 25 feet from the frontage on private road and 150 feet of road frontage for each lot. Financial and technical capacity, the subdividers have adequate financial and technical capacity to meet the standards of this section. Yes, the developer, New England Rent to Own, has the capacity to develop 2 residential lots. Groundwater, the proposed subdivision will not along or in conjunction with existing activities adversely affect quality or quantity of groundwater. We note that the soil evaluation was completed by a licensed or a septic designer, and septic designs have been proposed that meet the conditions of the existing site. Flood areas based on the Federal Emergency Management Agency's flood boundary and floodway maps and flood insurance rate maps and information presented by the applicant, we do not anticipate any flood concerns. River, stream, or brook. Any river, stream, or brook within or abutting the proposed subdivision has been identified on any maps submitted as part of the application. For purposes of this section, river, stream, or brook has the same meaning as Title 38, Section 480-B, subsection 9, noting that yes, the brook along the right side of the property has been identified and there will be no earth moving within 75 feet of the brook, and proper erosion controls will be maintained throughout the project's construction period. The standards of the town subdivision ordinance revision has been met except for the following, which have been waived by the planning board, noting that at this point nothing has been waived and no waivers have been requested. So.
And you wanted to set as a condition?
Yes. I would say a conditional approval would be that, are you okay with 110 for both lots that way?
That's fine.
Okay. 110-foot setback from the neighboring property.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Sure, if you come to the microphone.
Oh. I was just thinking back of when I just subdivided my property a while back. One of the requirements was that to subdivide that you had to have 150 feet of road frontage. So I had to make it big enough to get that. How are you getting that to make this subdivision?
It is a private road, and they have 150 feet on that private road. That road is being named. So it starts at Ridge Road, is their entrance, and all the land.
So that it's not really a driveway, it's a road.
Correct. That gets its own name, and they get new addresses from E911.
All right, that answers that, thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yep.
Any additional comments from board members? And then I'll take a motion.
Motion that we approve this based on the setback of the 110 condition being met.
All right, we have a motion.
Second?
Second, all in favor? Passes. Thank you.
Do you want to take a minute, recess for a minute, and sign his plan?
Sure, yep, can do that. Next on the agenda is item 5.c, Dirigo Engineering representing for subdivision application for Long Acre Estate subdivision to construct a proposed 4-lot subdivision off of Norwich Walk Road identified as tax map 5, lot 82, in the rural land use district. Discussion. So Randy, you gave a pretty good overview during the public hearing. Does any board members want to hear that overview again?
I don't,
Okay.
unless somebody else does. Okay.
Is there anything additional you'd like to add?
I don't think so, and most of that information came right from the project description, which is, one of the first 2 or 3 pages in the application. So if you're not sure about it or want to review something, that's pretty much right there. So we don't, I'll just point out, in case you haven't noticed, we don't yet have a boundary surveyor's plan. We weren't able to get that together in time for the meeting. It's probably in the works right now. So depending on what I guess, how far you want to go as far as approval, that perhaps could be a condition if you feel like everything else is in order.
Any board members have comments or questions for the applicant or representative of the applicant? I'll jump in with a few.
Sure.
On sheet 1 of the plan set provided, this was an overview of future phases, and I understand that. This lot currently owned by Larissa Larrabee, I think it is that 2 lots or is it 1 lot? Because I thought there was a property line that went kind of through the middle of this, right along the northernmost boundary line of.
Yeah, if you look at Lot 4,
Yep.
you'll see we've got that property line a little bit lighter with a PL in the line type, splitting what's tax map 5, Lot 81 and 82 on sheet 1.
Okay, on sheet, okay, yep, this sheet.
Yeah, and also, even if you look at if you're on the plan that has the site location map in the upper right-hand corner,
Yep.
you'll see that distinction between lots 81 and 82 showing up. So they are, to my knowledge, 2 separate distinct lots, and what we're trying to do is keep these first 4 lots within that first,
Okay, so
within,
it's just the.
right, right.
Not crossing into a second lot owned
No.
by.
Correct.
Currently Larissa Larrabee.
Correct,
Okay.
right,
It's 82 right now, correct?
Pardon me?
It's lot 82.
correct, yes, everything is on lot 82.
Okay. And this property, if you look at the entire property, this 82, parcel 82, if you look at that.
Yes.
This is essentially being split into 6 lots.
Yes, that'd be a fair way of saying that, because they'll have the farmhouse, the farmstead will be 1 lot. Am I correct on that, Brian? Bryant, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Currently, Lot 82 has 2 addresses, 176 and 174. So those 2 house lots are going to be separated. 174 is going to be a 4-acre house lot, and then 176, which is the brick house, will maintain the rest of the farm and the outbuildings, if that makes sense.
Those would be at the upper left-hand side
Yeah.
of the development. They're kind of not even shown on the overall plan.
Yeah.
They would show up if you look at that little inset at the upper.
Right.
That's where the existing development is right now, the old farmhouse and so forth.
Right, if you were to look at, say, sheet 1 of 4, you have there's some area that says solar lease area. I would think that's a lot.
I think it's just a lease, so I don't know that.
Well,
it's separate.
sure, disregard the solar lease over that lot, but that lot area would be a lot, separate from the 4 lots that are part of this subdivision, but currently part of Lot 82.
I think it intersects 81 and 82, the solar
Yes.
lease.
Right, I shouldn't have brought up solar lease. It was a way to designate a spot on the plans. And then to the east of Lot 3, that's another now lot that's separate from the subdivision and separate from the area along the north of the bend in Longacre Road.
Correct.
So would this be a 6-lot subdivision?
Well, it's land being retained.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's honestly, it's unusable. It's all wetland. So not that,
Well, you're talking,
he's talking about all this.
oh, you're talking about you're talking about the piece beyond Lot 3, though. That's, I think.
Correct, yeah, I'm talking
Oh, he's talking-
just
Talking about the field.
to the north of the bend in Longacre, the proposed Longacre Road, where there's text that says solar lease agreement, that's a new lot if this gets approved. And at the end of Longacre Road, there's another new lot if this gets approved.
Yeah.
So I would see this as a 6-lot subdivision.
Yeah. I guess what you're getting at is whether this kicked it into a major subdivision. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. You may be right in that perspective.
Even
Oh.
if there's no dwelling unit proposed for either one of those?
Well, why couldn't there be a dwelling unit put on both of those in the future? I think there is a dwelling unit on one of them.
Well, it could be a condition that they don't extend the
Without planning board
preliminary,
approval.
without coming back to the planning
Yeah.
board, just like we just did to that last plan you just saw. Condition.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that we need to stop progress on this. It's just the delineation, and the lot to the north of the bend on Longacre Road is pretty clear what it looks like. I'm not feeling overly clear about the lot to the east based upon the plans that are provided, because I don't see the clear delineation of where Longacre Road ends and that lot begins. And if you look at the cover sheet that was provided to us in the plan set of 4, it shows in the red, or in the orange bump out, the area that there's going to be the hammerhead turnaround.
Right.
But on sheet 1, there's no designated area for that turnaround. And I don't know who's going to own that turnaround.
Well, the road, because it's going to be a private road, it will be, I guess that's kind of why I made that change. Initially, I thought that it was going to be a public road, but then after discussing it further with Bryant, decided, no, it's going to remain a private road, in which case both the right-of-way and all of that land currently to the east is all going to be under the same ownership, his ownership, or a Longacre
So
estate.
the road, the proposed private road
Yes.
will be owned not by the HOA and
Well,
by,
ultimately, it will be transferred to the HOA, but at this point, it will be, for the foreseeable future, it will be owned by Longacre Estate, Longacre Estates LLC.
okay, I get that. I haven't, at least from what's being shown, and maybe you can help me understand it, but I'm not seeing how the hammerhead turnaround will be protected for the HOA based upon the road delineation.
Yeah, I can clarify that as much as we need to. There'll definitely be at least a temporary. Ultimately, once we get into Phase 2, that turnaround won't be required anymore.
Sure.
So that's kind of why, at this point, I haven't shown. I've showed it so that you know that there will be one on a temporary basis until they get into Phase 2. I'm happy to do whatever it takes to
I guess I
satisfy
just-
as far as that revision.
I would want to make sure that the ability for the HOA to have that turnaround, which is required by the town of Fairfield, is protected.
Yep.
So that the lot to the east can't then say, HOAs, you can't have your turnaround on my
Right.
property.
No, fair point. Yep.
So that's
Okay.
where my concern lies there. And then Meadow Buffer 2, same thing. It crosses that property line and into the land retained by owner.
Right.
Which I think there needs to be some protection so that the HOA has either an easement or access to both of those features on that, what I would consider a fifth parcel. And on the cover sheet, Randy, it shows kind of what I'm looking for in the orange outline.
Right, yeah, yep.
It's just, it's not shown that
Right.
way on the subsequent plans.
Let me just, I don't have it in my plan set. Right, that was I guess, an earlier version, but I'm happy to add that in. That may make the most sense. And I'll get some guidance from, that sort of thing would show up for sure clearly on the boundary plan.
Right, and we don't have that unfortunately, so it's
right.
not
Yep.
something that we can look
Right,
at.
I'll-
and reference at
I'll
this
work
point.
with the second
I think it's very easily remedied.
Oh, sure, right. Yep, yeah, we'll make sure that that's in there. So again, it will be a temporary basis from now. Eventually, it can be transferred over to whatever that next lot number is.
Right,
Beside
yep.
4. Yep,
Absolutely.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Adjustments are made in a future development at
Right.
the end of at the end of this proposed Long Acre Road, then I think that's totally doable. I didn't notice anywhere on the subdivision plan that it noted that pins were going to be set at all property lines. Is that going to be the case, or all?
I think that's a requirement. I assume that's a requirement, yeah, so they will be. Yeah, if it's required, they'll do it. Yep.
It just wasn't listed on the plans anywhere. And then this subdivision plan has current owner and prospective owner, registry of deeds noted as the deed recorded for Larissa Larrabee. Cole, what is the process? Is that standard for us to approve a plan for somebody who doesn't own the property?
You can review it. He does have a purchase and sale, which he submitted to you, so they're waiting for, and as Randy explained, he's not closing the deal on the final purchase until he knows that
Right.
it's approved. And once he knows it's approved, then he'll,
And would we update these plans?
It would be a conditional plan. I mean, you'd make a condition in your approval. I think probably, ultimately, this set of plans that I've got is more for planning purposes, I guess. The ultimate plan is going to come from the land surveyor. So I think maybe that's when it could be the plan that you actually sign. If you say, okay, we approve it, that gives him time to execute the purchase and so forth, gives Sack and Break the time to make the adjustments and get the names right, the changed names and
So
so
if we were
forth.
to
I think that-
approve this as presented, condition that we receive the formal land surveyed
Right,
plan.
correct.
That we can sign with updated owner information.
Right, yeah.
and from date of approval, you have 90 days to get it to the registry. So do you feel your surveyor and the transaction would occur in the next 90 days, or would you rather they table it and come back?
Well, I think surveying-wise, that shouldn't be a problem. Brian, you feel like that purchase and sale can take place within 90 days?
Because it looked like the purchase and sale was good through sometime in 2026.
April 1st?
April 1st, okay.
So, I mean, we want to work with you. We don't want to set you up for a timing challenge. So if you feel that the 90 days is acceptable, then
No,
we,
I wanted to, so ideally, my goal was to get the entrance of the road to the first lot done before it freezes.
okay.
So,
Okay, perfect. In the covenants and restrictions, on number 9, accessory dwelling units are permitted on a parcel for a maximum period of 2 years.
Oh, yes, we've changed that. I apologize for that. I actually don't know that I got a final plan to Nicole regarding that. After we had submitted that, Brian explained that, I think actually it was Nicole that pointed out that that's not really not going to fly too well. So essentially, we're going to change.
There's a lot of state laws.
Yeah, we're going to change that to just say not permitted is the notation that we'll have on that.
And is that compliant with state law, Nicole?
It can be, because they control the deed. They can set deed restrictions.
I
And
thought
the law
that-
does say that.
Okay.
You know, where they're the landowner, if they want single-family dwelling units, just like they can say no manufactured homes, which is a violation of state law, unless it's set as a deed restriction also.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that explanation. Note 11, road will remain private and will not be handed over to the town when completed. Could we rephrase that, and then maybe it's just my preference to say, Long Acre Road as presented shall never become a public roadway? Just saying handed over seems kind of informal to me.
Yeah. Can you repeat what you'd like for wording on there?
I would just say Long Acre Road, as presented on this plan, shall never be a public roadway.
The word never. Does that just mean as it's presented, or like,
Well, it
Never,
won't
ever.
meet public roadway standards as designed,
Right.
because it doesn't have the proper width of roadway.
right, just, I know things change. And so like not and never will not be handed over versus never be handed over, have sort of different legal connotations. It's a little nuanced, but
I think not is fine if you would prefer not.
I prefer not,
Okay.
yeah, just because we know, in 20 years from now.
Right.
We said never,
Maybe the
should've
town
been
will
not.
want narrower roadways.
I don't know.
Right. Either way, if there were a change, it would have to come back
It
for
would have to
approval to
come
the
back.
planning board, no matter what happens. So I'm happy to not instead of never. Fewer keystrokes.
Make sure I didn't have- In the application, it shows that this parcel does include water bodies. Are those just the wetlands? noted?
Yeah, there's a stream on the site, small one that comes down. Essentially, it's kind of at the southwest corner of lot number 4. There's a, 4 or 5 foot wide stream that comes down through there. Intermittent stream,
Okay.
dry this time of year.
And then it says the anticipated start date of construction is December 2025, so it sounds like upon final sign-off by the town.
Yeah, so,
construction will
yeah,
begin
right,
away.
exactly. Yeah, his primary goal is to get the road cut in so that he can start construction in the spring on buildings.
Okay.
And I assume, I guess going back to that, it sounds like things are going in a positive direction here, but I assume even if there are a lot of loose ends here and you said, we can't quite approve this as is there anything preventing him from putting in a road, at his own risk, obviously?
No, he's gotten his DOT approval.
Yeah.
So he can put up his erosion control and start his entrance.
Right, is obviously at his own risk if you said, we
Correct.
don't like it, then, but just as a backup, just in case something doesn't
Right.
follow through with this.
In the application, it notes, identify the method of fire protection for the proposed development.
Yep.
It's noted hydrants connected to the public water system will be used for fire protection.
Correct.
In the fire chief's note that was presented to us, he did indicate that the closest hydrants, probably about 1,000, maybe a little over 1,000 feet away.
Right.
And that the fire chief at this point, with the 4 lots proposed, doesn't feel any need to impose restrictions for fire suppression by either a cistern or a wet pond or in-home sprinkler systems, but did note that if additional construction is completed in the next off of this development, that those should be anticipated. So I just wanted to make sure that you both,
Yes.
as the applicant and the representative, understood that.
Right, right. And one of the things I'm going to look into a little bit further, one of the things I see as a high possibility is doing something for a wet pond, which can serve as both stormwater treatment, so it accomplishes that measure, but also provides some storage capacity. That's the sort of thing we did out on Bill Sanborn's project. And so one thing I'm going to look into is where we've got on lot number 3, that under-drain soil filter. That's potential that we may consider changing that to a wet pond. If not there, then we'd build one in the next phase.
Okay. When do you think that determination will be made, and will there be provisions to allow that to take place on Lot 3, or will that be decided and incorporated into this subdivision?
I will have to do a few calculations. I'd like to see, I've got to consult with Bryant to see if that's satisfactory to him. I've got to do a few calculations to see if I can get enough, if it's large enough. That's really what it boils down to. I think, at least in Waterville, when we did one of these, actually, I think the number they want is 20,000 gallons, if I remember right. So I've got to do check the volume of what would be required for a wet
I
pond.
think there's probably benefit to, if that's the place that you think it will go for phase 2, there's probably benefits in having that incorporated into this plan set that we approved now.
Right, and part of it boils down to how much drainage area is coming into it, and is that enough to sustain it? So that's kind of what I got to look into a little bit.
In the covenants and restrictions, yes, so number 6, no lots can be further divided without A, planning board approval, and B, express written permission of Long Acres Estate LLC. Should that be the HOA? I'm thinking 15 years down the road, Long Acres Estates LLC may not exist.
That's true. Yeah, let me look into that to get.
I understand why that comment's there. It's just I'm not sure that Long Acres LLC is the appropriate entity.
Right.
Forever into the future that would have to sign off on further lot division.
Could it say like and/or future HOA?
Well, then what if, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what the proper
right.
answer there is, but I don't
look
think
into that.
and/or, I don't think or is the appropriate.
Right, I understand what you're getting at. I'll look into it and try to get the right verbiage there. Yep.
We did get subsurface wastewater disposal
Yes.
applications for each site, which is good. I think it's certainly worthwhile mentioning that this site has a high probability of private wells being contaminated with PFAS, and not necessarily the planning board's purview to say what has to be done on those, but it does indicate in the application that treatment would be provided. So that is the plan, is that the homes will be provided with treatment if levels of PFAS are found to be above.
Right.
The bills are being budgeted to incorporate water treatment.
Right. Right now, the plan is for these first 4 lots anyways, is to build spec houses, so that'd be, all self-contained and so forth. that would be a little bit more of an issue if you were going to be selling lots, which I'm not sure on Phase 2, could potentially be selling lots outright on Phase 2?
That's not the intention. The intention is to sell built homes.
Yeah, okay.
I would like to have them sold like prior to building them, but that's to be built.
Okay. Yep. Just something to note. I mean, it was certainly in your application that you're aware.
Right.
And I do believe on the sale of property now, you do have to disclose PFAS as a contaminant, and if there's a known presence of it.
Conventional financing won't be approved if the water isn't tested as bottles, so.
Okay, any other comments from the board? The road proposed is a fairly steep road, 8% slope, but it meets our subdivision requirements.
Right.
Hearing none, are we ready to move on to findings of fact? Excellent. Okay, the finding of fact, number one, the owner of the property is Larissa Larrabee, warranty deed, Somerset County, book 6219, page 9, recorded on December 9th, 2024. The applicant is Brian Lorette. Well, actually, before we get too far into this, are we feeling like we're ready to do findings of fact, or do we want to wait till we receive an actual plan? Do we want to make that a condition of approval? Because we're potentially looking at a change in the stormwater features on Lot 3. We're looking to see actual designation of the end of the roadway, property-wise, and we're looking for some modifications on the covenants and restrictions. Do we all feel that those should be conditions of approval, or do we want to wait, get those revised, and then do the findings of fact? Does it matter to the developer?
I mean, it's better to have it approved, or have be closer to approval than not, in my opinion.
Right.
That's what we mind.
I think the advantage is, a lot of these things will be cleaned up as part of the boundary plan. And remember, as part of the boundary plan, that doesn't, a basic subdivision plan is, the stormwater is separate from that. And certainly, we want to comply with DEP and so forth, and, keep you folks in the loop on that. But a typical subdivision wouldn't necessarily spell out. So I guess the way I would propose it, in order to get the timing sequence right, if you folks are comfortable and approve it tonight, that allows him to go ahead and make the purchase, right, get that aspect of it done, and then get the boundary plan done in its final state, so it's got the right landowners and all that sort of stuff. So you'll actually have, you've got conditions, you've got some teeth there to enforce this,
Right.
to make sure it's done
Not
correctly.
final as of tonight.
Right. It's not until it's signed by the planning board. So you'll have another chance to review the plan to make sure it's meeting your requirements before final, and, whatever conditions you may need to add to make that satisfactory to you, that you have the teeth that you want into it.
Does that hold us to anything, Nicole?
No,
I mean,
it's basically, they will bring back a stamped plan with everything that you've discussed and wanted in it, and they'll fix their covenants that they
Right.
wanted, and it
Right.
gives them a chance, and then you review that plan that's submitted to make sure every element that you discussed is there.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think essentially until you actually sign the plan.
Right.
It's
And then
nothing that.
filed at the registry.
Right, exactly, right. And it can't be filed until you folks sign off on it. So I think you've got enough teeth in it to make sure it's done correctly.
Okay, does that work for the board? Okay. All right, we'll resume. Number 2, the applicant is Brian Lorette, representative of Long Acre Estates LLC, who has demonstrated a legal interest in the property by providing a copy of the purchase and sale agreement, and the applicant's authorized agent is Dirigo Engineering. The location of the property is off of Norwalk Road, Assessor's Map 5, Lot number 82. This contains 4 lots. We're going to say 4 lots?
For dwelling unit lots? I don't know. How do you want to say it? That's what they're applying for.
I really still feel that it's 6 lots. I think our ordinance says something about if it's larger than 40 acres for a lot in the subdivision, it's not part of the subdivision. Are both of these lots on both sides larger than 40 acres?
No, the one on the left is certainly not. The one on the right, no, it wouldn't be that large either. No.
Close.
Well, I think the total, 80, the total of your aunt's properties would be,
So, yeah, I think all of 82 is like, it's probably 65. And there's 11 there, and I would say there's probably 15 on the, at the top. It's close to 40.
Can we put contains a number of lots and we get that squared away in the next plan?
Sure.
Because
Yep.
I think if we look at it, it's more than a 4-lot subdivision. I know it's 4 dwelling lots being created, but
Right.
if you look at the actual
Yeah,
division of land,
right. Yeah, this is a little bit strange one because oftentimes, say for example, Bill Sanborn's property, you have one huge 175-acre lots, you develop 20 lots, and then you typically say remaining land of, and that doesn't count as a lot. But I understand your conundrum here because we do have the essentially 2 house lots in addition to this piece here, yeah. So, yeah, it does make it a little confusing.
so what does it do, Nicole, if we kick it to a 6-lot subdivision?
It's different criteria for the review, because it requires more, maybe not more information, certainly on financial, because he's not dedicating the roads ever to the town. So he doesn't have to show that he's
Right.
building them to that
Right.
road standard.
Does it do anything to the fire code if we add the 2 more lots?
No, because there's no more dwellings.
Right, no
for
more
it
dwellings
to be
being
supported.
proposed.
Very little, I would think.
I would think very little difference between
Right.
what's been proposed here. I mean, I think what you've
Right.
proposed here is really, it meets, as far as I'm concerned, our major
Right.
subdivision requirements.
Yeah, maybe you want to make as part of your condition or your terminology here that the remaining lot cannot be built upon until further development or
Agreed,
something to
absolutely,
that,
because that's
something
where
to
the
that
fire
effect.
department, that's where the fire chief has indicated that additional homes beyond the 4 proposed
Right.
may require or may necessitate fire suppression considerations.
Correct.
So I think, yes, that remaining lot to the east, I think I would like to see labeled as lot either 5 or 6, and we would note that no additional dwelling units can be built on 5 or 6.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, do I have to survey it then?
If it's going to be
Yeah,
part
see,
of the
that's why
overall
I don't
plan.
want to survey 120 acres right now. I want to survey 11.
I mean, if we've got the boundary, the division boundary, that should be sufficient for a change from the existing deed.
Right, if we show the turnaround and the actual road limits, road right-of-way.
Right, and you say-
That makes a more clear distinction between, okay, what is the road versus what is, I think then we can clearly say remaining land not to be developed until approval, right? I think that would satisfy
Yeah,
you.
I think that's better.
Okay,
So stick with minor and have that note, remaining
it's-
land not to be developed.
Well, we still have the land of the existing farm and house that would be being broken off from this land. So I'm not sure,
Those are excluded in subdivision. when
They are?
Yeah, because they're related parties.
Right.
So she can retain hers, she can sell to a relative, and those are not considered as part of the subdivision, those existing structures.
I wouldn't want those properties to be part of the HOA, because it doesn't share the road. That part wouldn't make sense to me. Right.
yeah, okay, if Nicole's on board with that, then it's something that I'll have to look into more before.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
think that they are part of this subdivision being proposed, but then I don't know
Right.
the background information either.
It definitely wasn't intended to be that way. It was
Part of-
intended for the two term.
Right, and you wouldn't want those covenants on that other
On the
lot.
family land.
right.
So,
I'd be
It's all, the splitting is all happening at the same time. It's not as though Larissa Larrabee is splitting 2 parcels, and then the new owner is splitting the parcel that was broken off from Larissa Larrabee.
Right, I
This
understand.
division's all happening at the same time.
As one deed.
As one division of a
split.
single lot currently. So that's where I'm shaky on if this is a 6-lot subdivision. Because it's essentially making one parcel into 6 parcels. Regardless of whether they have access from the private road or not.
I see.
So we can proceed, but that might be something for us to, we can make that a condition of approval, is that we can check legally to see what this, if this meets the subdivision law of a 4-lot subdivision, or if this is indeed a 6-lot subdivision.
Yep, understood.
Item number 4, the property containing the 4 lots is not located in the shoreland zone. Number 5, the property containing the 4 lots is not in the flood hazard area. Number 6, the applicant proposes to subdivide the property into 4 lots. Lot number 1, 3.15 acres. Lot number 2, 2.29 acres. Lot number 3, 3.06 acres. And lot number 4, 1.83 acres on the subject property. The completed plan application was submitted on October 22nd, 2025. A public hearing was held on November 3rd, 2025. Water is to be supplied by private well water. Sewage is to be disposed of by private septic systems as tested on the site evaluator report submitted with the application. Number 11, the site evaluation for each lot meeting the requirements of the main plumbing rules were completed by and submitted with the application. Conclusions. The evaluation of the land above sea level in making the determination, the planning board considered A, the evaluation of the land above sea level and its relation to the floodplain's evaluation, noting the property contains 4 lots and is not within the floodplain. B, the nature of the soils and subsoils and their ability to adequately support waste disposal. The property will be served by private septic systems and can adequately meet the waste disposal needs of the proposed development. The development will not cause air pollution. Note the property is proposed to be used for residential use and will not cause air pollution. Sufficient water, municipal water supply. The proposed subdivision has sufficient water available for the reasonable foreseeable needs of the subdivision. Yes, private wells will be on the site for the 4 homes to be built. Erosion, the proposed subdivision will not cause unreasonable soil erosion or reduction in the land's capacity to hold water so that a dangerous or unhealthy condition results. Yes, the subdivision will not create erosion and proper erosion controls will be used during all construction. Our code enforcement officer will be on site during construction checking to make sure that the erosion controls are in place. Traffic, the proposed subdivision will not cause unreasonable highway or public road congestion or unsafe conditions with respect to the use of the public roads existing or proposed. Yes, a Maine Department of Transportation permit dated March 28, 2025 has been issued for the proposed subdivision. Sewage disposal, the proposed subdivision will provide for adequate sewage waste disposal and will not cause an unreasonable burden on municipal services if they are utilized. Yes, the site evaluator report shows test pits for the septic systems to be, and they're adequate to support the sewage waste disposal for the proposed development. Municipal solid waste disposal, the proposed subdivision will not cause an unreasonable burden on the municipality's ability to dispose of solid waste. If municipal services will be utilized, yeah, note the subdivision will not cause any unreasonable burden on solid waste disposal. Aesthetic, cultural, and natural values. The proposed subdivision will not have an undue adverse effect on the scenic or natural beauty of the area, aesthetics, historic sites, significant wildlife habitat identified by the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife or the municipality, or rare and irreplaceable natural areas or any public rights for physical or visual access to the shoreline. Note, the proposed subdivision will not have any undue adverse impact on the area. This is a rural residential neighborhood, and the subdivision proposes additional residential dwellings. Conformity with local ordinances and plans, the proposed subdivision conforms with a duly adopted subdivision regulation or ordinance, comprehensive plan, development plan, or land use plan, if any. In making this determination, the planning board has interpreted these ordinances and plans. Note, the proposed subdivision conforms to the adopted subdivision regulations and is consistent with the Fairfield Comprehensive Plan to add residential dwellings. Financial and technical capacity. The subdivider has adequate financial and technical capacity to meet the standards of this section. Note, see the letter from the applicant showing financial capacity and technical capacity. That was included in our application from the subdivider's lending institution. Surface waters, while situated entirely or partially within the wetland of a pond, lake, or within 250 feet of any wetland, great pond, river, as defined in Title 38, Chapter 3, subsection I, Article 2-B, the proposed subdivision will not adversely affect the water quality of any water body or unreasonably affect the shoreline of any water body. Groundwater, the proposed subdivision will not alone or in conjunction with existing activities adversely affect the quality or quantity of groundwater. Flood areas, based upon the federal management agency's flood boundary and floodway maps and flood insurance rate maps and information presented by the applicant, the subdivision is not within a flood-prone area. The standards for the town's minor subdivision ordinance have been met, except for the following, which have been waived by the planning board. No waivers have been requested at this time. All right, conditions. There are many. Nicole, did you capture those as we were going through them? You want to review them?
Let's see. The condition that they get the official survey plan from their surveyor. And then to,
Which will include the roadway limits.
okay,
Right.
roadway limits.
As
yeah.
well as the correct property owners.
Okay,
Meadow buffer number 2 shall be completely incorporated into the 4 lots being divided, or somehow ensured access via an easement for the HOA.
for the meadow buffer,
Meadow buffer 2.
number 2, got it. Okay,
And you understand, Randy, are you good on that?
Yeah, we'll want to leave the meadow buffer to where it is at its size, but I agree that we do need to include the easement. I just overlooked that when I was laying out those easement lines.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, just for, I guess, for your edification, understanding, essentially what we try to do on these meadow buffers is we try to take advantage of the fact that the next homeowner can't build within 20 feet of their property line. So anything that's down gradient, we try to say, okay, let's put part of that meadow buffer into their property with appropriate easements, of course. That works well.
Pins will be set.
Yes.
Number 6 in the covenants and restrictions, for no lots can be further divided without planning board approval, for sure, and then without express written permission from the HOA or Long Meadows LLC. We had some,
Yeah, it'd be Long Acre Estates, or maybe we could say, or its successor, because that's really what would be happening. I think the HOA would be its successor. Would that be a fair? I'll check that with Second Break to make sure we get that language
okay. And just
correct.
run it by Nicole too, please.
Okay.
And then the restriction number 9 around the accessory dwelling units.
they already removed that from their covenant.
Right, we'll just make
They're
sure.
not going to allow it.
Right.
Okay,
but
but
you
what's,
want it
what's
listed.
presented to us shows that, so I want to make sure that it's
Right.
included as a condition of approval,
Okay. That it says that it's not allowed.
that it meets state law.
Right. Yeah, we'll use the same terminology. On note number 8, we say home occupations are prohibited. We'll say the same terminology. We'll say accessory dwelling units are prohibited, so that the verbiage is the same on those two.
And then number 11 on the covenants and restrictions, that wording. Randy, did you write that down?
Yes.
Could you repeat it for Nicole, please?
Long Acre Road, as presented on this plan, shall not be a public roadway.
And then determining the actual number of lot divisions, or the total number of lots in this subdivision. Will be my other one. Oh, and the property to the, both properties that are not in the 4 smaller lots to have restrictions on residential dwellings without coming back to the planning board because of the fire department's concern.
Just the one, because the other ones aren't included. They're just the property to the east.
Property to the east to
Are you
north.
talking about the remaining developed land? Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Phase 2, essentially, right?
I think, again, I'm hesitant to say particular on that until we have a better understanding if either of the 2 spaces outside of the 4 lots are incorporated into this subdivision.
But you don't want any dwelling units built, whether they're,
Yeah, I mean, yes.
you want that condition of, okay, so no additional dwelling units to be built other than the 4 presented?
Yes. And if those 2 lots aren't incorporated into the subdivision, then I think there's flexibility on that. But if law requires those to be part of the subdivision, then our fire chief noted that anything beyond these 4 homes, there would be concerns with as far as fire suppression.
But he was taking into consideration the 2 homes that are already there.
Agreed, yes.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, right,
Oh, yeah.
because those
No,
are...
there'd be no additional requirements imposed upon existing structures.
Right, because those 2 lots those are actually fairly close to the hydrants. You know,
Agreed.
They're
Yep.
a couple hundred feet away.
Right.
Right, and any additional lots that were split, say, off of the property to the north of Long Acre Road, if that's closer to fire hydrants, the fire department would certainly take that into consideration.
Obviously, yeah, there's going to be no more subdividing to the north of that road. There's going to be subdividing to the east.
Right.
That's all I can remember.
That's enough for a night, huh?
That was a lot.
Yes, you've done well.
Nicole, did you get all those?
I did.
Awesome. Any other comments from the planning board members? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Sorry. Motion to approve based on the conditions that we just reviewed. I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you for choosing to develop in Fairfield.
yes.
You can actually take this one here if you want. That's a
Okay.
fresh copy, unmarked, that would have marked.
All right, next
You want that?
item on the agenda is items by the public. Chad, do we have any public on Zoom land that would be interested in commenting?
There is no one.
All right, we have no additional public in the room. Items by the clerk of the planning board, Nicole.
I handed out to everyone the LD 1829 packet. So just when we thought that our land use ordinance was consistent with state law, the laws have now changed. and there's still some more revisions happening to additional dwelling units. So this is just to make you aware of it, that the first of the year, we will have to address our land use ordinance and be consistent with state law again. So just to open up the discussion and let you read what's been proposed, what's still, they're still working on redlining, I guess, the proposal right now. But this is what's coming at us, is more changes to the land use.
Is this something that the town manager is aware of?
She is. She forwarded this information to me, so she is aware of it, making the planning board. She asked me to bring it to the board and let you know that this is occurring as we speak.
Is this something, I mean, we as a board can make this decision, but I would propose that we present this to the town council so that they're aware of this change coming and aware that the planning board will be seeking support of licensed planners to support us in the effort of updating our land use ordinance to accommodate these new laws.
That would be great. Was that something you're willing to do for the board? Present it to the council for
Yes,
that?
I certainly can. Yep.
Thank you.
So can you work with the town manager to include this in the packet for the town council?
I will.
Does that work for the rest of the board members? Does that make sense? And I think this is something that certainly the town will have some expense to update our land use ordinance. So I think it's good to get that in front of the council as soon as possible to let them know that this is coming.
Right. And that is all I had, those changes. I don't think I had anything else for review at this time, other than we're seeking members, as we mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. So if someone would like to serve as an alternate to the planning board, please apply.
Yes, and do they reach out to the
They
clerk?
reach out to the town clerk, Brittany Garrett, and she'll take their application to the town council.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any items by members?
Nothing from me.
The only item I would add is at the start of the new year, when we are looking to incorporate these new laws into our land use ordinance, I think it's high time for us to evaluate the subdivision ordinance as well. And going through that today, it was a mess. And I think that there's a lot of improvements that can be made on that. So I would ask, I guess, support from the board when going to the town council to present these new laws that will require changes to the land use ordinance. We would also advocate for support from the town council to update our subdivision ordinance to current law and just our current Fairfield standards and what our community looks like today, because it's been a long time since it's been updated.
Are you willing to ask that?
I'm
of
also
them?
willing to ask that question, yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Hearing nothing, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Awesome. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.